And he looked down to the ground, he shuffled his feet, and he said, well, Ged, I'm the kind of guy who just goes with the flow. And he blamed everything on John Rutsey because he was no longer around.
Yeah, he's not around.
It was all John. So the next thing we talked about was that keyboard period, I said, and he started telling me stories about how when we were doing Power Windows and we brought in Andy Richards, this incredible keyboard stylist, that Alex was up in his room working on his guitar parts. He'd come down to the studio and he'd hear that the tracks were covered in keyboards, and he was really starting to freak out. And he didn't know the producer, Peter Collins, and he thought, well, are they going to squeeze me out? Is this going to be a keyboard band? So he'd never shared any of that with me, and he was really, those next two records, he was really harboring a lot of resentment. So he finally let it all out, which I quote him verbatim.
Yeah, no, you do. Yeah, no, that's cool.
So, but that's the kind of guy he is. He knew in the end that the songs were interesting, and of course, as you say, he created around all that keyboard. He created some brilliant stuff.
But you said, you said in the book, Alex is more of a flow player. You're more meticulous, or more of.
Yeah.
Alex is definitely a feeling guy and a moment guy. You know,
he is.
And so he probably just was trying to find his moment.
Yeah.
No, that's not. No, that's cool. One time I remember we did what was that thing that award that in Canada that I gave you guys?
Oh yeah, the Governor General's Arts Awards.
Yeah.
And
something in America we don't even know about.
Yeah, they give these awards to,
What is the Kennedy Center? Would be the Kennedy Center.
Yeah, it's a Canadian version of that kind of thing. And so we asked Matt to come up and present the award to us, and he flew to Ottawa.
Put on a suit. It was like this Canadian royalty thing. But the story I was going to tell is we went out to dinner afterwards, and it was because of this big event, it was like 10:30 at night. We're all it's not really a time to eat dinner. And Alex ordered a giant steak. It's like 11 o'clock. It was way too late to be eating a giant. He's eating this giant steak, and I just look at Neil, what is he doing? How's he not going to sleep? And Neil just goes, he's not, in Neil's voice, so much good. He goes, well, he's not really a very forward-thinking person. Did I tell you that?
You never told me that story.
He's eating a giant steak. It's 11 o'clock at night. What is he doing?
By the way, that's a very good deal. Very good deal.
And Salman Rushdie was at that dinner too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, that was kind of a crazy dinner. We had Salman Rushdie there, and Neil and Alex, and Alex ate that steak. I just was mortified.
Well, there's another picture I have here of Al. He's a famous eater. Some of you may know that he's of Serbian descent, and Serbs, they really enjoy pigs. They really enjoy suckling pig, and so I was in a restaurant in London that's a place called St. John's, and it's known for nose to tail eating, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a perfect example. That's a great story, but here's a follow-up. So we're having this great meal, and we're drinking too much wine as usual. My wine, of course, not his. He never drinks wine. And the table next to us had ordered an entire suckling pig. And at the end, they bring the head. And the table says, no, we don't really need that. And so I see Alex, and he's salivating. And, when he was a kid, they always ate the pig. They ate every part of the fucking pig. So the pig's head is walking by him, and he's like, wow. And he said, excuse me, don't they want that? And the waiter says, no, I'm afraid they don't want it. And he goes, well, can I have it? By all means. And so this picture, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but that's a picture of him smiling. And there's the pig's head. And he ate the fucking thing. I couldn't believe it. And Eric McCormack pointed out the other day that they're both the same color. His head is
If Alex wasn't a brilliant genius guitarist, he could have been a comedy writer or a comedian.
He's the funniest man alive.
He really is.
I mean, you're pretty funny, but he's funny. He's a spontaneous player, and he's the kind of player that you have to have a tape running, otherwise you'll miss.
Right, that's what I mean. He's spontaneous. He's of the moment. Yeah.
Because he'll play something just genius, and he'll go, "That was great."
Yeah.
Play that again.
He'll go, what?
Oh, that was great what you just played. Play it again.
He said, well, I can't. I don't remember.
And so you have to play the thing back, and then he'll take him half hour to figure out what he just played spontaneously.
It's not a forward-thinking person.
Yeah, but not forward.
Watching these guys, knowing the band, with like you guys together, you know, watching the camaraderie between you guys is really, you know, I get gushy about partnerships, obviously, because I've been in a long-term partnership with Trey. And
Yes,
it's just
you
like,
have.
I just when you find somebody like that, and give it, just there's, I feel like, and then I want to get to Neil, but like, I just want to say something. I feel like there's this new thing in America. It's kind of new in like, maybe it's been a while, but like geniuses, especially Silicon Valley, there's kind of this new thing with like, you know, to be a genius, you kind of have to be an asshole. It's kind of like, it kind of goes part and parcel. Like, that's how you tell if someone's a genius, they're kind of an asshole. And with this band, like, you're the three complete, absolutely individual geniuses, and together you get together for Super Genius. And to know that how much you guys love each other, each other because Neil's gone, but that you guys really, from a pretty early time, you know, maybe just sorted it out and worked together, and to see that for me was like, and all we hear about, like, we you know, again, my upbringing is what, this to what, VH1 behind the story, right? It's like, you know, how they fought or how they fucked and did this sort of thing. You guys never did that. You seemed to just supported each other.
We didn't. I mean, Alex and I, of course, knew each other since we were like 14, 15.
Yeah.
And we sat across from each other, the same grade A class, and from the minute we met, it was just nonstop jokes. And we both loved music, but we didn't play in a band yet, but that happened shortly afterwards. And it was just like that all our lives, just him and I, and it's still like that.
Right.
I mean, and that's like almost 60 effing years.
Yeah,
so
crazy. Amazing.
And then when Neil came, when he auditioned that day, of course, we had no idea how he would fit in. And you know, I don't know if you've ever been to an audition, but they're really awkward. And we'd never held an audition before, so we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. So the second guy to come in, a third guy to come in, pulled up in a Ford Pinto, and he had no shirt, and he had really short hair, and Alex and I are going, who's this fucking goof here? He's got really short hair. And he pulls these green garbage bags out of his car that are filled with a Rogers drum kit, and he sets them up, and the whole time kind of snickering at the, you know, yokel from the country. And of course he looks big, and he's got 18-inch bass drums, and that was a really small. And he's towering over his kit, and he just starts going, playing these triplets that never ended, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not letting this man out of my sight. And Alex is really pissed at me because we had made this agreement not to make a decision until we heard all the drums. So, but I couldn't contain myself. And so through the whole conversation after this incredible audition, Alex is just giving me side eye, and he's not talking to Neil. Meanwhile, Neil is sharing his love of books with us. We all love Tolkien. We love Monty Python's Flying Circus. And so, all those things. So, of course, the next guy who came in was super tame, and in the middle of it, Alex looks at me and goes, yeah, okay. So that's the guy. So,
all right.
So the next day, we called him up and hired him, but we were on the road within 2 weeks.
That's amazing.
And we're opening a show in Pittsburgh Civic Auditorium. Yeah.
Pittsburgh. No, like I said in the book, like Neil basically he grew up near you guys, and then went to England and for a year and a half and didn't quite catch, and was working on Carnaby Street in a souvenir shop.
That's right.
Had come back and had decided maybe to work with his dad, or given up. Well, not given up, but given into some reality. And got a call from somehow got a couple of
our manager pulled up in his fancy white Corvette and walked into the farm machinery store where he was working, and presented him with the first album, and he kind of didn't take it very seriously, and he had to think about it. But thank God for us and the world of air drummers
Yeah.
that he showed up. He showed up.
No,
the
for you,
audition.
particularly, probably the rhythm section became like you going from like blues rock 4/4 to like you could do anything.
Yeah,
You could do anything you
and
want.
one of the first things
You said Anthem was like one of the first jams you did. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that.
we were jamming
yeah.
at 7/8
Yeah. He was like, great.
at the audition, and John Rutsey, who was a great drummer, I mean, a very good drummer, but very solid,
Yeah.
unflashy drummer. He didn't want any part of that complicated rhythmic stuff. But Neil just fed on it.
Yeah.
He just fed off of it. And when we were jamming that at the audition, he was like, "Oh my God, my dreams are coming true. I can't believe it."
The heart's in
And
your
so
eyes.
that turned into Anthem, of course. But
Yeah.
to your question, we didn't know each other. So here was Alex and I, this block, these buddies, these goofballs, these jokesters, and we had this alien in our midst that we didn't quite understand. And it didn't take very long until he just completed the circle for us.
Yeah.
His sense of humor, his his ideas, his enthusiasm for playing complex music. We were just very fortunate to find each other at that moment.
We were very fortunate.